dead grass, growing up grass, pizza boxes, looks vacant, looks abandoned, notice posted on the door that are dated months old. Anytime you see a property like that, I simply need you to take the address and enter it into this system that I'm going to give you access to. And every time you put it into my system, when I buy that property, I'll pay you $1,000 finder's fee. This is a bird dog. One of the things we encourage is, yes, you guys should be out there driving for dollars, but you should also have your bird dog. Now, this is somebody else. This could be a friend. This could be a family member. This could be your Uber driver. This could be your, what's the one where they deliver food? Is that Uber Eats?
Uber Eats, DoorDash.
DoorDash, that's what I was thinking of. So the next time you guys order Uber Eats or DoorDash and somebody delivers something to you, say, hey, how would you like to make an extra $1,000 in the next 30 days? And they're gonna go, well, how in the world am I gonna do that? And you're gonna say, I wanna set you up as a bird dog within my system. And they'll say, okay, well, what do I gotta do? Here's all I need you to do. When you're out driving around making deliveries and you see a property that has one of these qualifying criteria, dead grass, growing up grass, pizza boxes, looks vacant, looks abandoned, notice posted on the door that are dated months old. Anytime you see a property like that, I simply need you to take the address and enter it into this system that I'm going to give you access to. And every time you put it into my system, when I buy that property, I'll pay you $1,000 finder's fee. This is a bird dog, okay? So they're out driving around, they find a property that meets qualifying criteria, they add it to your watch list. You get a notification that a new property is in your watch list, you check it out, you say, sure enough, looks good, you start a mail campaign, you send an offer, you skip trace the owner, you make an outbound dial, you determine their level of motivation, you pull a debt stack to find out how much equity there is. Based on that, you get it under contract, you order the inspection, you negotiate based on the terms and what you found in the inspection, and you close. So we have two scenarios now. We have the one where you were out driving around, and now we have this one where your bird dog is out driving around, and then you pay your bird dog. Now, here's a great example of a bird dog deal. So, after finding a foreclosure notice, your bird dog pulls a debt stack, calls about the property. The owner, Jack, and guys, this is an actual live deal that we just recently did. We find out that the owner, and again, this one's coming from one of our bird dogs, we find out that the owner, Jack, has been unemployed for several years. Now, he believed that God would keep him in the house, and as a result, he refused to sell. So you guys have heard the story about the devout Christian who's caught in a flood, and the flood waters are rising, and the fire department comes over, and they're like, hey, the flood waters are rising, we got to get you out of here, come with us. And they say, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And so the flood waters rise, and they have to go up to the second floor of the house, and finally a boat comes by, and they knock on the windows, and they say, hey, we're here to save you. And they said, no, God's going to save me. Everything's going to be fine. God's going to save me. And they have to now get on the roof of the house. So now they're sitting on the roof of the house, flood waters are rising even higher, and a helicopter comes in with a basket, and they say, hey, get in the basket. And the person looks up and says, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And the flood waters rise, and eventually they drown and they die. And they go to heaven. And as they're meeting God for the first time at the pearly gates, they look at God and they say, God, what happened? I was praying, I was convinced you were going to save me, and I died. God, what happened? And God says to him, I sent the fire department, I sent the police department in a boat, I sent a helicopter. You said no to all of them. I tried to save you, but sometimes you got to help yourself. Well, that was kind of the situation with this house on Cambridge. The guy had numerous people come by, all offering to help him out. He refused to sell. Nope, God's going to save me. He gave us the same excuse, but we maintained contact with him. Remember, that's 6 touches, and we kept contacting him, we kept texting him, we kept emailing him. Finally, a week before the auction, we went out and we met with him again. And finally, he understood that perhaps we were God's answers to his prayers. And so what we did is we bought the house. We did a 1-year rent back. Now guys, we don't normally do rent back, so this is not something that I encourage. However, in this guy's situation, it was the only way we were going to be able to help him get back on his feet. So what we did is we gave him enough money from the proceeds of the sale to make the monthly rental payments. So instead of giving him $40,000 cash at closing, we said, look, we're going to take 40 grand, we're going to put it in an escrow account, it's going to pay rent every single month, so you don't have to worry about paying rents or anything else. And then we simply took over his underlying mortgage. Now this is what we call a subject to deal. Now it's not uncommon in a subject to deal where we have to reinstate the underlying mortgage, because if he wouldn't have worked with us 7 days from the day that we closed on this thing, he would have been losing the property to foreclosure sale. And in the state of Washington, where this property is located, if the house goes to foreclosure auction, you have 21 days to get out. So there's no negotiating. You got 21 days to get out. Now the numbers on this deal, once it's fixed up, and this house does need some work, it will sell for about $450,000. We purchased the property for $300,000. He received $10,000 in cash at closing. We brought in $22,000 to reinstate the existing mortgage, and we took over the existing loan of $162,220.24 at 4.5% interest. We put $30,000 in escrow to pay the $2,500 per month in rent. And so he got 10 grand cash, loan was reinstated, didn't have to lose the house to foreclosure sale. And in 12 months, when he moves out, an additional $70,000 will be paid to him at the end of 1 year. Now at the closing, we brought a total of $87,489.61, which included all of the closing costs and fees. We increased our cash flow, so we're making $600 a month on this deal. And when it sells, 12 months from now, we will generate another $60,000 in profit when it sells. Now, I know that you guys are looking at this deal and going, whoa, okay, there's a lot of moving parts here. There's a lot of numbers. And Lee, where am I going to get the $87,000 in cash? You guys are focusing on all the wrong things. The question you need to ask yourself is, who's my bird dog? Where am I having them insert the information? How am I skip tracing the owner? How am I making the 6 touch point connections? How am I getting the deal under contract? How am I writing the offer? Who's my funding source? Okay? I can help you guys with all of the terms, the negotiations of the deal. But the reason you guys, many of you, aren't doing deals and aren't cashing checks is you don't have anybody out there actively bringing deals to you as a bird dog.